Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. J. Tonight, I am joined by Mama Kali Sichen El Dey, noted ethnographer, cosmologist, astrologer, herbalist, healer, and author. Tonight, we will present Why the War, or Why the Women Are Ready, as a prequel to our upcoming Reclaiming Ourselves foundational gathering to be held Saturday, November 11th, 2023, from 1 to 5 p.m. in East Point, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta. We will discuss the ongoing wars and how melanated women can and must play crucial roles in ending the wars being waged against ourselves, our families, and our communities, and our legacy. Now, a little bit about Mama Kali, in case you don't know. She was born the 13th child and the 7th daughter of an American Indigenous family, organic to this land. Now, Mama Kali Sichen El Dey says most of what she knows and has learned stems from her independent studies in various metaphysical disciplines, astrology, astronomy, world religions, ancient and modern world history, and through her many travels around this planet. Now, tonight, as I said, we're going to discuss why the women are ready. So grab a pen, a piece of paper, and take notes as Mama Kali and I kind of set the stage, as I said, for the meeting that is going to take place on Saturday, November 11th. So let me welcome back to the house, Republican in mind, this is Office Hours with Dr. G, Mama Kali Sichen El Dey. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. I tried to drag that out so we could say less and get it into that space. It kind of worked out pretty good, didn't it? How are you today? Listen, before we get started, y'all, it's not enough of you all on this live. I need you to, first of all, press like. You should get at least 40, whatever, how many you are there, likes. And please share. Tell the sisters to get on, because y'all who love Mama Kali, and some of y'all love me, you want to come on, you want to see us and hear us talk about something that is of great importance to many of us. And I know you all, especially the sisters, have been waiting a long time for us to make some movement. And after I was given that commission by brother, our chief Rod Hayes, to gather the women, right? It's been about a year almost, hasn't it, Mama?
Yes, it's been a year.
It's been about a year, and we have not. We have been gathering. There's a lot of names and emails and of you who have the sisters who have requested to be part of this. But we knew that we had to have a foundational gathering first. We had to lay the foundation. I mean, we were given a charge, a commission, but you and I talked about it, and you've been around quite a bit longer than I have. And you said, like, I'm tired of meeting to meet. So
you get tired. Let me give you a history of how long I have been involved in gathering the women. And I'm not going to make it a long story. I do want, you just called me this morning to tell me to come on, because we really need to get the message out. There are a lot of people here in Atlanta, and we have actually booked a very comfortable place that is available. It's available by train, and it's east in the East Point, Georgia. And so it's really, really easy to get to. It's on Main Street. It's called The Core, and it's owned by one of our sisters. You know, Noni Love, I think she calls herself now.
Mm-hmm.
I know her by her family name, Kanyama, and I've known them for a very long time, but she has a great place. It's called The Core, and it's right across the street from the East Point MARTA station. So you can get to the space even if you don't have a car. And there's parking there, and it's wheelchair accessible. And so it's a great spot. And of course, she prepares vegan meals. And so you can eat too, because we're going to be there for 4 hours. Now, 4 hours we need so that we can discuss what we need to do. Sis has been religiously gathering names for women who are interested in joining our war. Now, let me give you a little background about how long I have personally been in this struggle and why I'm reaching out to the women. Back in 1993, that's 30 years ago. Did you hear me?
I hear you.
30 years ago, we received a fax from Ethiopia. And the thing that was so strange about it was that it came at night around 9:30 into our office. And nobody's in the office at 9:30 at night except this particular night. My husband went to the office to pick something up, and he was there when the phone came on, and the lady said, I have a message for you from the prophet in the highlands of Ethiopia, and I'm going to send a fax to you right now. Well, she did. We had never heard the woman. We had never heard anything from her at all. And we didn't even know how she got our number, but the things get around. And we had published a magazine for traditional doctors and healers of Africa. That's something that the Sankofa Journal, I think we published our first one in 1990. And we had gathered traditional healers and so-called medicine men and shaman from all over Africa. We had about 30 countries that had signed on, and we had made the magazine and sent it out. Well, so she was in the U.S. Embassy in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and she saw the magazine. It got to the embassy. And so she got our number and she called. And she said, I never would have known, what the prophet was talking about when he said, call Dr. Ando, call Dr. Ando. And then she opened the magazine and there's Dr. Ando, in the United States. And so this was in 1993. And so we went in person because the prophet said we had to come in person. So we went to Ethiopia in 1996. Okay? On the way to Ethiopia, we found the biblical manna. And of course, we wrote about that too. Biblical manna, the spiritual message for the new millennium. The Nile Valley Plant Survey. Okay, wherever we went, we collected plants and sold to plant sale. But on the way, we found the biblical manna. And it was by Imhotep's pyramid. And I was just looking to the video just yesterday, and it so happens that Imhotep was also known as Thoth. I didn't know that. I knew that the Greeks called him Asclepius Imhotep. I knew that the Greeks called him Asclepius, and they take the so-called Hippocratic oath under the name of Asclepius.
Right, that symbol with the snake and all
yes,
that.
The Hippocratic oath. All doctors take the Hippocratic oath, which says "do no harm." Well, we know that's a lie. But anyway, so we're there by the pyramid, and we find a manna of the Bible. Well, we didn't know what it was, but it was the only plant there on the desert. So I can show you the picture that was taken with Dr. Ando standing in front of Imhotep's pyramid. Well, about 100 yards away from there, we saw a little speck of green. And we said, oh, well, maybe there's a plant over there. And so we went and got it. And, as we do in every country where we collected plants, we took it to the herbarium, which was in the Cairo Museum and the University of Cairo. And so when we were there, the ethnobotanists told us that was the biblical manna. That white stuff on that green plant was the manna of the Bible, and it fell every 200 or 300 years. And so we're there at Imhotep's pyramid, at the time that the manna actually falls. And we weren't even going to the pyramids. We were going to Ethiopia. And so that kind of gave us the idea that this particular trip to Ethiopia was somehow especially blessed. Mm-hmm. And so we on our way, and we travel to Addis Ababa, but we had to go to the source of the Nile to see the prophet. And when we got there, we weren't there yet because we had to climb this mountain, So when it was, was not too far up. I was much younger, 30 years. And so it was not a problem for me to climb that mountain. And so we went up there, and there was a very small village, with the little grass huts all in a circle and, bamboo benches. And so we sat down on a bamboo bench. And all the animals came to sit around us, and that was surprising. And all the villagers came around. And so then the prophet appeared, and he said there was only one message he wanted to give us. And that message was, go back to America and tell them that the women born outside of Africa, the women born in the African diaspora, will be the ones who will change the world. Now, that's a big message.
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. That is.
Yeah. And so it was kind of we thought something, mysterious to come all the way there, but that is major. That was 30 years ago. And so when we came back, we stopped in New York, and we went to the Victoria 5, which is about two doors down from the Apollo. And we told the people what the prophet had said, and we had brought some of the manna back, and I had mixed it with some, cake mix and stuff, and gave it to the audience. And, every time that I've talked about it, somebody who was there at the Victoria 5 all said, oh yeah, I was there, but nevertheless, we did talk about it, but we didn't keep the momentum up, because who wanted to hear that back in 1996? People weren't listening. What do you mean the women in the African diaspora are going to change the world? Well, at any rate, time passed and it was sort of swept under the rug and everything. And we talked about a lot. But the killings of our children kept on. It kept and it kept on and it kept on. It's like we're in a war, but we're not even paying attention. And every time children get shot down in the streets, the gatekeepers run in there, the ambulance chaser and the guy, I forget his name, the Reverend. They run in there with a bag full of money to give to the people to shut them up so that they say, oh, I forgive you for killing my child. Now, is that not what happens all the time? I forgive you for killing my child. But they got this bag full of money here now. And $20,000, $30,000 to shut up and don't say nothing, but join the choir of women who are mourning about their children. And every now and then they have some kind of event where, what's the guy, Sharpton? Yeah, that he brings all the mothers together to cry. But we got to do more than that.
Absolutely.
We got to do more than that. And so when I was living in Ghana in 2008, I called a meeting of grandmothers because one of my dear friends, she was a medical doctor here she was living in Phoenix at that time. And she said that every time that her son, he was about 16 years old, every time he left the house, the police would follow him. So she was afraid that he might get cut down. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so I said, well, hey, we got to get together, the women. And so I was in Ghana. And so I said, okay, well, let's have a little conference of women in Ghana or grandmothers in Ghana so that we can address this issue of what's happening with us losing our children. It's an epidemic. And so there were about 8 women who came, 8 or 10, and then some of the local women. And it's really funny. When women get together, our men get scared. I remember one sister, she was from, she was living in Ghana and she was from Chicago. And the funny thing about it is that when I was telling her about the meeting that was going to happen, about an hour later, she got a call that her son had got shot in the head in Chicago. And when I was just telling her about, it hadn't been an hour. And she's in Ghana and her son gets shot in the head in Chicago. So I mean, we saw that, it was, I mean, it's an epidemic of us losing our children. This is 2008. Yeah. Okay. And so, with the women gathered, we were at a beach resort. We all had a whole lot of fun. And the women had a whole lot of, they got a lot of clothes made and because that was the time, because you could get them so cheap over there. And as a matter of fact, Mama Tamu, she wore one of the dresses. When was that? I think Sunday we went out somewhere. And she wore one of the dresses she had made in Ghana some years ago. It looked new to me because these clothes they stay forever and look good forever. And so, so they were interested in clothes and they were interested in artifacts and seeing things and stuff. And the beach was beautiful. And so we did have a time, so this is 2008. Now, what has happened? That was before Obama was elected. Okay. And so, okay, I think the election was
November, with the
yeah, it
November
was in
election.
November, and the event was in June, July. You see, and so it was all good, and just addressing the issue of what are we going to do to save our children. You see, so 2008 comes, Obama comes in, we're thinking that change is going to happen, and we see the only change was good.
And those letters, it starts with L and ends with something plus Q at the end. That seems to be the major change.
That was the change. That's who got the change. The LBGTQ, whatever.
Yeah, but
you know, they got it. They got the change. We can get nothing. You know, and whenever you say anything against Obama, everybody hit the ceiling, just like something happened, you know, when he was in office. The only thing that happened was that, you know, all kinds of people were let in, and then LGBTQ people, they got everything they wanted, and we got nothing. Okay. And so here we are still, our people getting shot in the back. And the worst thing of all is we fighting each other.
That's it, Mama.
That is the worst of all, is that we are on a war path against each other. But this is because of lack of knowledge. But you know, I have a dear friend, Miss Ella, and her birthday is going to be on the 12th. So I'm hoping that we can have a birthday party for her while we're there, or at least have some cake, you know. And so, yeah, you know, so I talk to her all the time, you know, and she reminds me, well, there is a change, but it's just not happening fast enough.
Yeah.
At least that's the way I see it. I don't see it happening. So it's time for the women to stand up. Because in traditional societies, and especially the matriarchal societies, there was no war until the women declared war. Okay? Because if the men wanted to go out and start shooting and carrying on and raiding and everything, the women just wouldn't give them nothing to take to eat. And this was a part of their as being in charge, you know. And besides, they were owners of the land. Let me read you some of this stuff about they control the land, and this is the Iroquois Confederation, you know, of which the so-called Constitution of the United States was patterned after their confederacy, their constitution, okay? But the women had a very special place. It was matrilineal. You know, they controlled the land from New York State to the Great Lakes. The Iroquois Confederacy, the First Nations were Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca. And their true name was not Iroquois. It was Haudenosaunee, okay? I think that's the way it's pronounced. But anyway, in 1722, the Tuscaroras actually joined them. Now, the Tuscarora are the people from North Carolina, Virginia, that North Carolina, Virginia line. And I happened to have gotten, you know, very young, back in the day when I lived in Soul City. I sent you a link about a video that was just done a couple of weeks ago about Soul City, a place that most of our people do not know about. Well, I lived there. And while I lived there, I think I was there a year and a half. And and it was up and coming, and they had been building houses, they had built a facility for businesses, and it was really going well until they stopped funding it. Of course, this was Soul City. It was a Black city, and of course, Black people don't want to go to a Black city, so-called. Floyd McKissick, who was the Congress on Racial Equality Corps, interesting Corps. Yeah, he was the one who was given that money to start Soul City, and it was on an old plantation.
Who was funding it, though? HUD. So they had
the House of Homes and Urban Development.
Housing and Urban Development.
Housing and and Urban Development. Yeah, and it was done by Richard Nixon.
The interesting thing about that, Mama Kali, if I may interject, before I retired, I worked for a municipality, but we were HUD funded, and to hear that is just. It's kind of, I'm tongue in cheek about it, because I was at a conference, I want to say around 2014 or maybe around that area. And as a part of this conference, and I don't know whether we were in DC or wherever we were, but they gave a history of urban housing and urban development, which is, the part, what HUD is, what became HUD, and how they deliberately did the urban renewal project that came through. And I saw it in my city. And here I was in school when they came through one area and took all the homes. Everybody's house was I guess they did the what did I call it? Gosh, I don't know what it is. When they would take eminent domain. So they took eminent domain out of a major area of our city, and I-95 was created. I-95 came through. That's what came through in that area. But they talked about how when the housing became available, they deliberately put a lot of the melanated people, and they didn't call us melanated, but they put us in places where we had limited access to transportation,
no jobs,
and ways to get there. And then they created the suburbs or the suburban area to put the quote unquote, the white, so-called white people in these better areas. And but they were admitting it. It's like after they do stuff, years later, and like you're supposed to go, but now we're making all this affordable housing. So please, you all have to forgive us for our transgressions of the past. But you can't, that's the same era that saw the creation of the welfare system, because we're talking about being at war with the creation of the welfare system that in effect,
the prison industry,
right? But the welfare system rewarded women, if you will, supported women for, it was all right to have babies, but it was not all right to have a husband or a man. But there had to be a man involved in order to get these babies that they kept. The new baby got more money at one point. And eventually that stopped. And they were like, we don't care how many babies you have, you're not getting no more. But they created the separation of family structures where there was female headed families, but even those females were dependent upon the subsidies, I remember what we call the surplus boxes, with the cheese,
the cheese,
and the powdered milk and the canned meat and all that stuff. So they said, we'll be your provider.
We will provide for you,
but you don't. And they emasculated manhood and destroyed, if you will, any real strength that did exist in family structures, because you could not have a man there, but you could have a boyfriend that was making babies with you. And so it was so men were all right, it seemed, and y'all can, I'm not trying to bash men, but men became conditioned to, you could, maybe you had to stay at this one's house this night, maybe next week you're somebody else, because you don't really have a place to stay regularly, because you can't stay with your women on welfare over a long period of time. So men are moving around making babies, or what would be families all over the place, and all of this stuff, to me, like I said, it's a war. It was a war against the family, the melanated
Well,
family.
exactly. That's what it was. It was designed to destroy our families, to destroy us, and to could continue to create babies, because now we know what they're doing with them. You know, and the Planned Parenthood and what they're doing with the embryos that they take out, and all of the placentas. We know that placenta is the basis of the birth certificate that declares you dead. You know, people don't know these things, and we have to bring them up to date on all of that. But I just want to say that I-85 destroyed the business center in both my hometown of Durham, North Carolina, and here in Atlanta. It went straight through the business center and destroyed it, and then scattered the people who had lived there. You know, and
for us it was 95.
And it was all in the name of urban renewal. But all that urban renewal was designed to destroy us. And let me tell you about Soul City. Do you know that all of that infrastructure and everything, and the housing and all the buildings that they built there on that old plantation, it's a prison now. I wanted you to see.
So they repurposed it for another one of their purposes.
That was the purpose. Okay, well, let's get this nigga some money so he can build us a prison, and we'll fund him as long as he puts enough buildings up, those things that we're going to need, you know, to get this prison up here, another prison, you know. And so that's what it is now. It's a prison. You know, when it was supposed to be a new city for our people to begin to develop something for themselves. But we should know that they never do anything for us unless ultimately it's for them. You know, I mean, look, I mean, just like you said, these, they have them now, what are they called? They're not called model cities. That's what they were called back in the day.
That was back in the 90s. They were 70s.
Yeah, the model cities. There's something else now.
Model cities.
Yeah, well, there's something now they're calling it because I see a lot of rich people.
Somebody said something about 15-minute cities. I don't know what that means. I don't.
Well, these 15-minute cities are all about, you know, okay, well, we'll have everything that you need within 15 minutes, so you can walk there and you don't have to leave. And we ain't going to let you leave. And that's what that's all about. Again, now, can we sit here and let that happen? I mean, that's why the women are ready. We are ready to stand up and take our stuff back. Absolutely. We are at home. We were not brought here that 1619 and nothing but a bunch of bull. And it's been proven, but they keep on pushing it. They keep on pushing it. They keep on pushing it. You know, just as if you know, well, to override the new information that's coming out about our indigenous roots here.
Yes. Right. And it's coming out.
And that the slavery was the enslavement of the women and children, the indigenous women and children. And that's coming out more and more. It's coming out, you know, and so so we're being informed, and we know that hey, wait a minute, you can't send me back to where I didn't come from. You know what you mean?
That part. And so many people have embraced that myth. I'm gonna call it lightly a myth, but straight out it's a lie. But so many people have embraced it. And like I said, I remember some of my friends years ago making the trip to, I believe I'm not sure if they went to Nigeria or Ghana, maybe Ghana. and they told me how when they got off the whatever they got to get to the land, the women were there. The women, indigenous women of Ghana, I think, wherever, they were washing clothes, but see, this was a part of the narrative that was being established, because the women were saying, we've been washing these clothes for you, waiting for your return. We washed it, and more than one has told me about this ceremony where it was a part of a tourist trap, so to speak, or a show, so to speak.
And and I know where they do that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
it's a
it's a show, and they would talk about how they just cried and they just how their heart, they just felt like they were home. But you have heard some people who are indigenous to Africa say, well, we know most of y'all didn't come from here, but if it brings economy in, if it brings
money, it's the money.
Yeah. And so they, in a sense, they have been a part of the conspiracy over there, those ones who have participated in it, making those of us coming from here to visit as on a pilgrimage think that that's in fact, again, that's separating us from our true land, right, our true heritage. Just like I was telling you about the brother I met a couple of years ago, and we got to talking in the market, and as time went on, we were getting vegetables and different stuff, and I said to him, where are you from? I hear an African sort of dialect, and he said, I'm from Liberia. I said, oh, that means you from here. And he smiled.
Exactly. Right? Because they were taking us over there.
There you go. And that's we don't hear about that story.
No.
Because when you don't hear about Liberia, Monrovia, and what under President Monroe was happening when they wanted the land. They saw us here, all of us prospering on the East Coast, and they encouraged a lot of us to go over on ships, I guess they provided, and really try to eke out a living over there in what is now known as Liberia and Monrovia, and even some into Sierra Leone, right? So, so they don't tell, but they'll tell a story about us being on sardine ships for 3 or 4 months on stack, 3, 4 high.
And that's absolutely impossible.
Absolutely.
Nobody would live more than a week under those conditions. And, I believed it way back in the day, until I had to come to my senses and say, well, that doesn't make any sense, because we know better. People have to urinate, defecate, women on their menses, all of that. That's going to happen. And if you stacked on top of each other, how is anybody at the bottom going to live?
Survive.
Yeah. But, this DNA thing, it's a scam. All right. And I remember when they started that, and they had the African ancestry DNA thing. Okay. Well, at that time, I thought it was real,
Me too.
And I was one of the first to actually pay $500, to get my African ancestry DNA done. But since then, I have learned that the original founders of New York were from Amsterdam, okay? And New York was called New Amsterdam, right?
Yeah, right.
They were Sephardic Jews and Muslims who founded New York, New Amsterdam.
Would you say that they
were business people? They
colonized it. They colonized it because it already existed.
Oh, well, yeah. They colonized and subjugated the people. It was those people who gave the money to build the wall to keep the indigenous people out. They call it Wall Street. That it was our Black folks who gave them the money to build the wall to keep the indigenous Black folks out. That was their business district, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now, let me tell you about this. Do you remember when they had the African, what they call the African graveyard in New York? They were building a new federal building there in New York, down at Wall
And they
Street.
found a lot of, yeah, I do remember.
Yes, a lot of bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know that's where the cemetery for those Moors and the Sephardic Jews? Do you know that's where their cemetery was?
Well, obviously.
No, I know that because I was reading this book called Jews and Muslims in British Colonial America. Okay. And then somebody was doing a video about that, and they talked about the location of the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wait a minute. That sounds like down there where they found that so-called African graveyard and got all them bones and actually had a ceremony to take the bones back to Africa. Well, those were according to what? Because I did a very close survey, of New York to take a look to see if indeed this was the same spot. And it looked exactly like the same spot. I mean, you don't just tell me something, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to find out if I can. And so what they call the Africans were actually the Europeans out of the Black Europeans who actually started the businesses, insurance and banking in New York City, New Amsterdam.
So are you saying that these were what we would call the ancient Brits? You got ancient and modern Brits. You got Europeans, what they call the I guess they call them the Black nobility.
I don't know. All I know is that these Sephardic Jews and Moors, and these Sephardic Jews are dark-skinned people, according to the information that was written about them then. Not now, but then, because they done whitewashed everything. And so, so when I read about this was maybe a year or two ago. And so when they said, that their graveyard was down there around Wall Street, I said, let me check. You see, because I remember when they were digging up those bones down there, calling the African graveyard. And even I had a very dear friend, Nana Prempe, and everybody in New York would know Nana Prempe, and he came down here to Georgia before he moved to Ghana, because he moved to Ghana, after he was a part of the ceremony to reinterm the so-called bones of the African people. I don't believe they were the bones of the African people. I believe that they were the bones of those founders of the colonizers who founded the banking and insurance companies there in New York, who were melanated people. See, most people don't even know that.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Jews and Muslims in British colonial America. It tells you that, and two Jews wrote it, and they tell you that they was dark-skinned people. Okay.
Mama, I just recently was reading, because something I heard and caused me, sometimes, like you said, you hear something, then you're like, I gotta investigate this. So I'm looking at, I think I was having a conversation with brother, matter of fact, I want to give credit where credit is due. I was having a conversation the other day with brother, let me take this out of my mouth, Yakuba Jerome L. Some of them some of you all are in his civics class. And we were having a conversation, And he was mentioning the fact that the original Greeks of the Greco-Roman era were dark
Right.
skinned, not the whitewashed pictures that we see, the bleached out, if you will, stuff we've been
Absolutely. The
shown since
Romans
then.
too.
The Roman, yeah, but mostly we were talking about the Greeks. And I went back and did some research, and sure enough, when you read the description, just like you see in the dictionary, when they show that the people of America were copper colored people, they give you the description of the Greeks. And the Greeks, the original Greeks, were dark, anywhere from olive to brown. Well, we're brown, we're copper,
Yeah.
we're all in between there. And so it begins to make more sense now, because we seem to be interjected wherever they want to put us in their historical accounts of where folks came from, and all the while trying to lengthen out their existence. They always try to make their predate everybody else, and like they pre-existed, when we know they interjected themselves in and around
into
things
our history, because they didn't have no history.
Right. So by doing that, it doesn't give them more time on their 6,000 year timeline, because if you have an expiration date, you got an expiration date.
Look,
so
the time is up.
But it makes sense to me now why there's such a push to amalgamate and mate with it, and swirl, as they call
Exactly.
it. Exactly. To bring more of the, as I said, the mixed, if you will, in so that they would maybe give some more strength to their bloodline.
Well, you know what Rod says? Rod Hayes. He said they had to have a drop of blood so that they can ascend. Because being created, and we know that story, of what's his name, who created the race, so-called Yakub. We know the Yakub story,
which they just recently recalibrated in sort of kind of in They Clone Tyrone.
Oh, please. Look, remember I talked to you about They Clone Tyrone, and how they putting all this stuff in our face that they're doing, and we are still buying into it? How? Look, they said that, okay, they were poisoning us with the hair stuff, and we still using the hair stuff. Our folk are, I covered my head because I got to. I ain't doing nothing to it. I barely comb it. I've been putting it in 2 braids, when covering it up. And they clone, the hair products, the grape juice that they give folks in church. Talking about the blood that we running,
and the chicken.
And that chicken.
That's right.
Now, do you think that I would go eat some chicken after seeing that? Now, I didn't eat chicken as a child, because and I have not eaten chicken since. In other words, I never ate chicken. Why? Because when I was a child, they bought the chickens live, and they take them out to the backyard, and they wring their necks. And then the chicken would run all over the place without a head.
Chicken with his head cut off.
I couldn't eat it after that. I was just too sensitive to that, I just couldn't eat the chicken after that. Well, folks are still going out there. I see them. They're addicted to it.
Yeah.
Whatever they have put in there, it's just like Coca-Cola and all those other things. They put those addictive things in it. Monosodium glutamate is one of them.
They said it's an Popeyes has done that. They said that Popeyes. Well, let me erase that. They say that one major chicken chain a few years ago, which had a new product that they were pushing.
Oh, yes.
People were just about, I think somebody even got killed over, or shot or killed or something over it. It was some stuff in this chicken, and that, I don't know what was in the chicken because I didn't get any, but people were lining up to get it
around the corner, around the block,
and going to
trying to get
battle.
some of it.
Yeah. And so many things have been introduced into our communities, that take away, I remember growing up, every meal was eaten at the table. My grandmother would cook. My mother worked outside the home. My mother was a domestic, but my grandma cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She had boarders, roomers that lived there too. We all ate supper together. You had to be at the table. Right. It was nobody came straggled in and ate, when they felt like it. No, the table was set. We ate. But what I'm saying is that everything was prepared back then. It was a part of the love, the energy of cooking your family a meal and having them sit down, the satiation of just biting into. I remember funny things that happened, like my stepfather. There was a man that lived there named Mr. Jim, and I don't know whether they really had it. This is what was on the table or not, but I remember him asking my stepfather if he liked mountain oysters. Like, we all sitting around the table. I was a child. And so, he said, I never heard of a mountain. He said, well, that's what you eat. And that's what I don't really think he was. And so accordingly, I think mountain oysters were the testicles.
Yeah. I know not worth.
I'm talking about sitting at the table. The stuff. I mean, everything was done. We were all at the table. So the funny thing. I mean, I remember my stepfather spitting his food out of his mouth because Mr. Jim told him he was eating pig nuts. So like, if you will. But we were still together as a family, even the extended family members. You lived in the house, then you sat at the table and you ate. Now we go to, Ching Chang's kitchen and so-and-so's such and such this and that. Right. We don't know what's being done. We don't know what energy is being put into the food, because, you can, you just like you can infuse love, you can infuse anger and hate and all that stuff because we know energy is transferable. Now we know that. I don't know whether that's something that old folks knew, but food was prepared with loving intention. And then by the same token, you had the craziness where they'd be like, don't be eating that spaghetti because that woman put, you know what I mean? We knew that we could transfer stuff.
Yeah, I remember that there were places where your mama told you not to eat.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, off the bull. Okay, mountain oysters off the bull. Yeah, but I'm just saying but we could put the love and when you were preparing for your family, you were preparing it normally with love. We go hither and yon. We don't know what we're getting. We don't know what they're putting in. Like, if I'm going to the Chinese restaurant, I was like, no MSG. And the lady said, we don't put MSG in it. And I thought to myself, well, when y'all stop? You know what I mean? Because that was a staple, because that's a flavor enhancer. Everybody was using accent back in the day, but nobody told us that accent was an excitotoxin.
Yes,
made it taste
absolutely.
Good, but yeah, so we didn't know these things,
right? But now we know it, and it's time for the women we have to return to the old ways. And I was thinking about it. Well, okay, here we are. We're in a new dispensation. We're in a new age. We have all of this technology and all of these buildings and all of this stuff that we are used to, and the jobs and everything like that. How are we going to go back to the old ways? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Because I take a look at some of the things that I'm going to use as an example, Nation of Islam. Okay, when Elijah Muhammad came along, what did he do? He took the men who were in prison, okay, and cleaned them up. Got them came out of the prison, got themselves wives, had children, supported the home, And a lot of the Moors were educated too in the prisons. And so, just to make an example, when you look at they cloned Tyrone, when they were going after those guys who had cloning factories underneath in the basements of these houses and everything,
trap houses, yeah.
Who did they go to get?
The people in the hood.
The people in the hood. They went and got the prostitutes to work with the pimps, to work with the gangbangers, and all, and said, "Hey, we got to go after these dudes." Now, we as women at this point right now, we know that going after them with guns ain't gonna work. It never did.
No.
All right, because this is a spiritual war.
That's right, and that's for us. Before you go further, it is a biblical scripture, but it's apropos to what we're saying. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're not carnal weapons. We're not talking about waging a war with guns and knives and bombs and and nuclear weapons. We got the greatest nuclear weapon on the inside of us if we exercise, and that's love. But yes, we don't. That's another. That's for further. But you're right. It's not.
This is a spiritual war. This is a spiritual war, and we have to perform our rituals in the spirit world, because we do not battle against flesh and blood, but principalities
and powers,
power and evil in high places,
wickedness in high places,
high places. And I don't have to tell you, because if our people don't know where the spirit, evil in high places is, all they got to do is look at who controls the churches. And, well, not only church, but who controls the mosque, who controls the synagogues, who controls the church. Mm-hmm. Who is it? Those who are holding our birth certificates as bonds. The Vatican. They control Islam. They control Judaism. They control that, and people think that Catholicism is the only thing that the Vatican. No, they control all religions.
They control it all. Yeah, you know what I've always said? I said, if you give people a piece of different, like the groups you run, the Buddhists, the Muslims, the Islam, all of us Christians. Here's a piece of fabric, and this is the cloth. I need you to find the cloth that this is the fabric of your religion. Please find the piece where that piece fits. So you go out on a trek, and they're looking to see where they can find and put it. If they all find the place that that fabric piece, their piece belongs, they'll find that they're on the same cloth.
Yes,
because it has one central hub. It's like an octopus with many tentacles.
Oh, absolutely. And they have found that actually there's about 8 people that own everything. Did you know that?
I knew it was a very, very, very small number.
The Octagon group. Mm-hmm. And so I just read that one of the major tentacles of the Octagon group just was dismissed somehow. I don't know how. Just a few days ago, they're losing their grip. They're losing their grip, and the only thing holding them up right now is us and our ignorant behinds.
Right.
You see, we are still the chattel that supports the system. We are still the chattel. See, a lot of our people think that the 14th Amendment freed us. No, it didn't. It just transferred the ownership of the bodies from individuals to the state.
Manumission.
Manumission. And we're not understanding that. And I keep hearing people supposed to be educated. talking that mess. They ain't studied. They have not studied. And they got PhDs and all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they have no idea what's going on in the world. Haven't the faintest idea. But see, they're the ones that they use to carry out their dictates. Right. You see, we were talking about, okay, now how is it that all of the cities that got these immigrants, thousands and thousands of immigrants coming in, single men between the age of 18 and 35, coming in without wives and children, and we putting them up free. Well, they work for the UN. Well, why is the UN sending these people in here? And why are our borders open to them? Not that I'm talking against immigrants. I'm talking about these thousands. And all the cities are run by Negro men.
By whom? Because you broke up a little
bit. And Negro women sitting as judges. Why is that?
Oh,
why? Because they were trained to work for the system. And they don't even know it. Most of them don't know. They just have loyalty, and there was a few people in Congress a few weeks ago, or a few days, I don't know how long ago, who were criticizing Farrakhan for that war over there in the Middle East. They were saying he needs to, denounce the Arabs. Well, the Arabs are the ones that are being they're being mowed down just like they were fodder. In fact, just like we're being mowed down like we're fodder, because we are. We are the fodder for the system. Until we wake up and do something about it, we will turn around and find ourselves all the way back in chains. And I have no intention of sitting here and seeing that happen. I got children and I got grandchildren, and I got time to change this. And so we have to do this. Women are ready to make this move. 30 years ago, the prophet came, asked us to make a journey to Ethiopia for us to find out, that, hey, it's time for women. But see, he told us we weren't ready to hear it. Right now, you've got 1,000 women who have signed up. They put their names.
No, we don't have 1,000. We have about 400.
400 women can move something. Okay. 400 women can move something. But see, our big problem is we don't want to work together.
There you go.
And we've got to find a way to overcome this. Let me make a suggestion of a movie that our people may learn, our women may learn something from, okay? And I told you about it. I sent you a link, and I sent it out to quite a number of people. It's a documentary called Pray the Devil Back to Hell. Pray the Devil Back to Hell. Okay, what was it about? It was a Liberia during the time of Charles, what was his name? Charles Taylor. Oh. And it was a civil war. The people were fighting each other.
Let me say this before you go further, Mama Kali. I just heard that recently. I was looking at something else. I wasn't looking at that one, but his name, Charles Taylor. They told us and told me in this documentary I was looking at that a lot of the ones that came from here during that Monroe, under President Monroevia, Liberia, and so forth, kept the names, surnames that they had over here. So you got tailors over here
Right.
on this side. Well, tailors
Mm-hmm.
likely went over there when they were, I don't know what you call them. They were kicking folk out of off of this continent and send them there. But the names,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of names over there you will find that are just like the names here because they came
Exactly.
from here. That's why you got a Charles Taylor in Liberia.
Right, exactly. But a lot of coastal communities in Africa have those names because they had changed their names when they went to school. Okay, they went to the missionary schools and they had to change their names. Just like my mother went to an Indian school, and well, she kept the name that they had. I don't know what that indigenous name was, but the name that she had, she kept. But it was one of our own names. Her name was Mitty Spell. And I always thought that was interesting that my mother's name was Spell,
Like
Spell.
Spell.
Spell. Yeah. But
but back to your story about Charles Taylor and what was happening.
Okay. And so Charles Taylor, it was a civil war. And what was he doing? He was stealing the gold and diamonds. Liberia got gold and diamonds and all kinds of riches, just like about every country in Africa. Mm-hmm. He was stealing it and selling it to the deep state, the US and Europe, for pennies. And, and they were supplying him with guns and everything. And they were killing each other. Mm-hmm. And the women got tired of it because they were losing their children after they started coming after children, 13, 14, 9, 10, giving them guns, getting them high, and stuff like that. They said, no, we ain't going to go for this no more. Mm-hmm. And so the women got together and they said, no, y'all ain't getting no more coochie. They withheld sex from the women, from the men. And they got all the prostitutes to do the same. And all the women, Muslims, Christians, all of them, Pentecostal, they all agreed that this is what they were doing because they were tired of their men, their children, their brothers, their fathers, all getting killed by each other.
By each other, yeah.
Yes, it was a civil war. Well, what's happening in our neighborhoods? We're shooting each other. Our folks are shooting each other. And the guns, they leave them in an SUV or a truck somewhere in the neighborhood. And the boys
open rail cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alleyways.
And then we go and kill up each other. Mm-hmm. And so the women in Liberia said, nope, we are withholding what you want the most from us. You ain't going to get it until we stop this fighting each other. And so it got to be a very big thing. And at first, the men ignored them, and the warlord, Charles Taylor, ignored them, and he doubled down, with guns and recruited more and more. And then they saw that the women weren't going to give up. And every age of woman all came. They came from outside the villages, everywhere. They came from all over. All the religions got together. They ignored all of those other things that divide us. They got together. They said, So finally, they had to take it to a peace conference, and they had that conference in Accra, Ghana, the capital city of Ghana. Mm-hmm. And so these warlords that ain't never had a house or a pot to piss in or nothing, they sitting up there in these nice hotels and they eating, steaks and drinking all on I don't know who sponsored it. It must have been the United Nations or something. They paid for these fancy hotel rooms and gave them all the liquor they wanted, and they had prostitutes and everything. So they having a good time there in Accra at the conference, supposedly to address the women's issues, but they weren't doing that. What they decided, along with the Nigerians, they were at the negotiating table, and they decided that they were going to give the warlords different positions in the administration. The women said, no, we refuse to have any of those warlords in any position of power in Liberia. And so, again, they had to address the women. What eventually happened is the women went and sat at the door of the conference room and said, we ain't moving until our issues are addressed. And they sat there, and they sat there, and they would not move. They called the police and everything. They would not move. And then finally, they all undressed in front of everybody. Well, that was a shock. And so what happened was they eventually had to address the women's issues, and they called up a vote and all that. And I think I told you about that. But let me tell everybody else. So they decided that they would institute a vote and change the administration. Of course, Charles Taylor was brought up on war crimes, and so he had to leave, and he went to some country. I'm not sure where he went, but he had to leave. Well, he went where?
I said he got asylum somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's living well, because as far as the UN is concerned, he was doing their bidding.
Absolutely.
He was actually reducing the population and keeping the people impoverished and maimed. A lot of the children were maimed, missing legs, arms, all kinds of stuff, And so, they everybody left and went back to Liberia and everything, and they had a vote. Well, they put this woman up. And she was another one of she went to school here at Howard University. She was Liberian, born and raised in Liberia, went to school at Howard and Harvard. And she had worked with the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Mm-hmm. Well, the women didn't know, and so they voted for her. Well, if she works for the IMF, you know who she belongs to.
There you go.
Just like these women working for, the city of this and the city of that, and the court of this and the court of that. They working for the people. I'm sorry. They're working for the deep
system.
State.
Yeah.
They are not working for the people. And they don't even know it. A lot of them don't. Some of them do. Because I know one thing, and Cynthia McKinney told us, do you remember Cynthia McKinney?
Did she
okay. Cynthia McKinney was voted as a representative to Congress from Decatur, Georgia, which is, right here, in Metro Atlanta.
Right.
And Cynthia McKinney, she ran and she won, but she refused to take a vow to support Ish, and in order to actually be associated with Congress or anything, you got to vow your allegiance or pledge your allegiance to Ish.
Mm-hmm.
And so She said, no, they're not the ones that put me in office. I'm not going to pledge allegiance to Ish. And so, honey, she got in, she was there. And then 9/11 happened. She said, well, wait a minute, this don't sound right to me. She questioned, she was on the committee, and she kept questioning, well, how did this happen? This don't sound right to me. What is this? They had to get rid of her. So honey, what they did to her, I mean, anybody could see. Stevie Wonder could see how they set her up. You know what I mean? Because it was impossible what they claimed she did that got rid of her. They had to put her out of office. And then they brought another Negro woman who agreed to support Ish and put her in there because, if you do one term, and she won. And, I had relatives there. And I said, don't vote for that woman. Don't you know how they set up Cynthia McKinney? And so that woman won. Of course, she won because they intended for her to win, because she had actually pledged her allegiance to Ish instead of to us.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, Cynthia, they put her out of office, and she had to leave the country, honey, because they were after her. Now she does. I don't think she comes back to the country, but she's on the speaking circuit in other parts of the world. Every now and then, I get a email from her and find where she's going to be, because people know what happened to Cynthia. She was honest and sincere about working for her people.
For the people, yeah.
Our people. And everybody else sitting up there in Congress, they had already took the oath. So if you think you got a representative up there, you better watch out. And you wonder why we're in the same condition, if not worse. I think we're in worse condition. I know we're in worse condition now than we were in when, I don't know. I know in 1960s. I can't think of any other time, because then they came in with the crack cocaine. They came in with the heroin. I remember they brought the heroin in, to break up the Panthers, because I was I saw that in San Francisco. I saw that. They brought the heroin in, and that's a whole nother story that I was there to witness. And I was living up the street from Kathleen Cleaver and the Cleaver guy.
Eldridge.
And son.
Eldridge Cleaver.
Eldridge Cleaver and Kathleen, they lived on the same street as me. And so they had surrounded that block for about 3 weeks. And we couldn't even get to our house. We had to go all around to go to, because they had surrounded them. And I think that they finally gave them a chance to leave the country. But I was witness to that. I saw that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, and they brought in the cocaine. I mean, no, that was heroin at that time. And then, of course, they brought in the crack.
Then changed the laws. Changed the laws so that crack versus powder.
Absolutely.
6 in one hand, another.
And that woman up there that everybody's so proud of, who sometimes call herself Black and sometimes she call herself Indian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She
had a hand in.
How did she contribute?
I said she had a hand in perpetuating that by keeping mostly men, in some cases women, in a longer time because of the business side of the industrial complex.
Absolutely. See, we're still the chattel. we still hold up this system. We are the ones who hold up the system. And the fact that we don't want to open our minds and say we ain't going to hold this table up anymore. There's this cartoon, and I'm not sure. I've seen it in different places, but the one that I remember seeing it in was this brother's YouTube channel called UB News TV 100. They done ran him all over the place, you know. He had to change his name and go. I mean, they done ran him all over the place because he comes down with the truth. You know what I mean? And yeah, and then there are these banksters, big belly, you know, cigars so big, you know, and they sitting around with all the money up there on the table. And underneath the table that's holding them up is our men. We're holding the table up. And that is the truth. And I've seen that cartoon in many places. I can't, but the only place I remember seeing is with Uriah Brandon's UBTV and UB News. He keeps changing it because they be running him off YouTube, you know. But you can find him. Brilliant brother.
I've seen him. I've wanted to get him on the show. A couple folks, I mean, you know, that have this deep, you know, understanding of what's going on, and his is spot on. And you know,
he's spot on.
And you know, he does his research. You can tell he researches what he's doing. It's not, you know, haphazard or anything. He literally has you glued to, you know, your screen, watching to hear what he's uncovered and what he's sharing. And sometimes it's stuff you know, but again, what it's doing is giving confirmation that you're not crazy, because this same information is being downloaded. Whosoever will receive these truths, whosoever will act on these truths, let him, her, let them come forth and do what has to be done. If you want to be a bench warmer and sit there or you want to watch the show go on, fine. But there are folks that really have it in their hearts, you know, like yourself, like myself, like Grand Sheik and others, that really want to see change, really want to see, and not only want to see it, but realize that in actuality, we are the ones with the power to do it.
Right.
The bull crap that they put in your way, you know, the fear, the like I say, the spirit of fear, the thought of fear, the big bad ghost, the who's behind the curtain, Wizard of
Oz. It's false.
It's false.
So the false evidence
appearing real.
Appearing real. Yeah. False evidence appearing real. And see, the whole thing about it, just like, you know, Grand Sheik and Rod keep telling us, hey, look, we got to stand up. And the women are ready to stand up.
And, you know, if you go back,
ready. The women are ready. And we know that it can be done, but we also have the insight to know that they're going to send their own people out there to give us some false hope, just like they did with Obama, and just like this Kamala, you know, and all of these and all these Negro women running these big cities that they are allowing to to just go to hell. They put those women in place so that the women that, oh, well, we gave you a black president, we gave you a black mayor, look at what they did. No, this was they were given a dying city. They were given a already ruined city. It's just like just before they killed Martin Luther King, he said, I led y'all into a burning
building.
He didn't know. Mm-hmm. He thought that he was doing right. And then when he realized, I think after he met Malcolm and he met Elijah, and they gave him the rundown, he realized that he was wrong. Absolutely. And soon after that, he was dead. You know?
Yeah. He knew. He knew what was coming because they had threatened him. They sent him letters suggesting that he kill himself, I guess, before they got to him, So they did, what they did, and now we know what it is. But I wanted to point out something, and I'm reading from the Message part, but it's in the same thing in the King James. When we think in terms of what we as women can do, must do, have done, and hopefully will do again. I always come back to when I was in the church, we would use this particular scripture for Women's Day, Mother's Day. They would read Proverbs 31, and the main part of it was the first words that they would say, "Who can find a virtuous woman?" And that kind of stuck out. Virtue, a woman of virtue was like, when you thought of virtue, you thought of this honor, this woman that was so pious and so holy and now. But if you really get into that scripture, it says that, and I want to share this, not preachy, but just what the woman, why is she virtuous? Because first of all, she is worth more than rubies. So they say right there her value. They say her husband is full of confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. Now here's the part. So she selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant. So she's making clothes. She's got her business. She's got her thing going on. She can make clothes. She's like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar, right? She gets up while it is still night, and she's providing food for her family and some portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. So she owns property. She's got crops and so forth going. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable. She's in this, marketing. Her lamp does not go out at night. She works into the wee hours of the morning. She grasps, her hands hold the distaff, and she grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arm. So here she is making, not only does she have the sheep and stuff that has the wool, now she knows how to turn that wool into product, because now she's making clothing and garments. And she's also charitable, because she opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. And when it snows, she has no fear for her household. All of them are clothed in scarf. She takes care of her family royally. Her husband, here's again, is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat, sitting on his butt, among the elders of the land. She's making linen gardens. She supplies the garments, sells them, supplies the merchants with sashes, clothes with strength and dignity. So check that out. This is not no namby-tamby little
business. No, not at all.
Somebody getting stuff done.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. And basically, that is how the Iroquois woman is described. She owned the land, and she brought in the crops, she made the clothes, and she chose the men who spoke at the tribal council. And if they didn't carry out what she told them to do, they got rid of them quick. It wasn't no going around, no. We told you that we are taking care of this generation and the 7 generations after us. So you got to carry this out. And when it came time for war, the women, if things got so bad, the women declared war.
Absolutely. And again,
stuff is bad when the women declare war, because the only thing they're looking out for is the future of the children.
Right. The legacy.
See, they ain't looking for no position on some big council somewhere. No, they looking for the children. Yeah. They're looking out for the children and the 7 generations of the yet unborn.
That's right. And like you said, we already have generations. Like you mentioned, I've got children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren already. So they don't know these things. The things that they have become accustomed to are the things that could ultimately lead to their demise. So we've got to get this information into their hands, because the disinformation campaign has gone on long enough.
Oh man, look at here. And let me tell you, the distractions. Hey, TikTok is one of the biggest distractions of all, because everybody get on there saying and doing. Of course, you can learn a lot, because some people come with some very good information. Some of people come with very good information, but the whole lot of it is just, they're time consuming, but the women got to come together, and that brings us back to why I'm on here tonight, to announce that we have that foundational meeting going on here in Atlanta on November 11th. And that's supposed to be Veterans Day. Well, we all veterans. We veterans of this
war.
We are veterans of this war that was going on in our Mama's Day and our Grandma's Day and our great-grandmama's day. We've been at war for 400 years, and if you don't believe it, check the history. We've been at war for 400 years. Okay? We didn't sit down and let them beat us up and chain us and carry on and stuff. We fought. And as a matter of fact, my clan, let me see if if I make this bigger, if you can see it. No, actually you can't see the whole thing.
Do you have something you want to share on your screen?
Well, yeah, it's I'm trying to see which way it needs to go.
Is it actually on your, like, another page on your
screen?
It's
no. It's, I don't know how to do that. But it's on my wall behind me.
Oh, behind you. Okay.
Oh, my totem, which is Anishinaabe Kohari. Anishinaabe Kohari Nation. Yeah, okay, I have two.
Well,
a black bird and a red bird, and they're eagles that are there together. When the red bird and the black bird come together, then there'll be peace in Turtle Island. That's the statement that you find on my Kohari. Okay, now Chief Kohari was actually killed in the Tuscarora War in 1711. And I found that out years and years and years ago when I began to study the area that my people came from. And they said Chief Kohari. Well, honey, they done gone and changed that chief's name. He's no longer, I can't find anything on Chief Kohari anymore. But see, the Tuscarora Nation divided after that, and some of them went north to join the Iroquois Confederation. There were 5 nations, and then when the Tuscarora split up, they became a 6th nation up there in the North Gate, that area, the Great Lakes area, Tuscarora. They even gave the Tuscarora some land there. That this was after the death of Chief Kohari. All right. So the other part of the Tuscarora Nation went south, and they settled on an area on this river they named Kohari River. Little Kohari, and that's where my people are from. Little Kohari, North Carolina. They call it Kohari. Kohari. They call it Kohari. This is an Indian nation that just got reclassified in 1970 something. They were called Black, and then they fought, and they said we are not Black. And so finally, they were reclassified as Indians. But this is where my people came from. You see, and so there's that connection with the Five Nations, the Iroquois connection. After Chief Kohari was killed, I think they called him Chief Hancock, because all of a sudden now I'm hearing that there's a Chief Hancock, who was killed in 1711, and somehow that's when the split happened. But when I first researched it back in 2010, I believe, they said his name was Chief Kohari. I can't find that anywhere anymore. So they are constantly, what Obama did for us, quote, for us. Yeah, honey, he gave the money so that they could go and change all the censuses from mulatto, which meant at that time meant Indian, and then colored, when they were calling us colored, that meant Indian too. Honey, it's all been changed to black. That's what Obama did for us. Okay, you can find that out.
So,
the money instead of helping us, he wanted to reclassify us as non-existent. Okay.
And that's as you can see, over the years, if you have an opportunity to look at different classifications of your family in the same bloodline, how over the years their ethnicity has changed. It's like same bloodline. Right. How do you do that? So it's just like saying that Easter, that Jesus rose on Easter, and we are celebrating that, but every time the date comes around, it's a different date.
Well, like, it was a lunar.
It didn't really happen. You know what I mean? So so they can, you can't change the ethnicity of the bloodline, because now you've got a new description that you're given. Either you are something, and that line goes through, unless, like you said, with a mulatto, if you have, if you end up with somebody Italian or somebody that's Greek, the modern Greeks, getting with a melanated person, and okay, now you've got, but you still got. But that
wasn't what it was.
I know it wasn't.
At the beginning. When they said you were mulatto, it didn't mean black and white, because you have to remember, there were very few, quote, white people here until the late 1800s.
Right.
Okay. When they brought all of them poor folks and prisoners and out of England. I mean, right. Europe, all of Europe. They brought them over here, and then I don't know where all of them came from. They had Cabbage Patch babies too, and people were buying babies at Coney Island.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know where the hell they came from.
Those are test. I think those are test tube babies. I seriously have a lot of information on that. I would probably show that and do something like that on a on one of our unfiltered, because you want to get into whatever.
Right.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, they're all test tube babies.
That stuff is not new. I mean, they were growing. It's deep. Some of you already know about it, but we'll do that in another, if you will.
Right.
I'll do it unfiltered. But we wanted to also, Mama Kali, to talk about what goes forward, because somebody was saying, will the meeting be on a Zoom? No, it won't be. This one won't be Zoom, but this is just a foundational meeting. We have to stress that it is extremely limited seating. It's not, the venue is not large. It's a great venue, just not a large venue. So if you're planning to attend, we need you to get your tickets. Here's what's going to happen. The venue is such a limited seating that when we see when that number of people have purchased, and we're going over about 5, right? We said we were going to go 5 over our known limit. And when we get to that, there will be no way for you to get a ticket. We want the tickets. The tickets are prepaid tickets. So you got to get your ticket before ahead of time. And unless a whole bunch of folks bum rush us and buy more tickets than we have seats, then we'll have to return the money, your payment, based on who paid first. It's that serious, right?
Yeah, so this is serious.
This is just a foundational meeting. We wanted to have a meeting because, like I said, I was given the charge, but I've been collecting names and numbers. Some of you are on there, and not knowing exactly which way to go. I've been talking with Mama Kali over the months, and Mama Kali, like I said, it has been a year. And if you all remember, it was about it was about 10 months ago when I was saying, please, we need a place. If we're going to have all these women meet, we needed a platform, and that's why we ended up initially, Mama Kali, if you know, getting the expensive platform that we have now that we do the unfiltered. We have not done enough on it, but we can't afford, to be honest with you, we can't afford not to have it. I believe things are getting ready to, because we could do a lot more with that platform, not just the women, but for our community. It's just that we needed to get things. I needed help. I mean, people don't know that for the most part, until recently, absolutely everything that has been done over the years with regard to House of Real Awakening Minds has been me. Grand Sheik is the muscle behind the scenes that does all the work on stuff, and he's also the talent, if you will, in front of the camera, giving us the information. But when it comes down to somebody says, where's your mods? I don't have moderators yet. We've been talking about it, but we need to get, I don't know how to set up moderators. So we do need moderators. We need a lot of things.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, we haven't until this last year when LaChris Jordan came on. LaChris is a goddess send, if you will. She created the website. She maintains that information. She gets your information when you send in emails. I don't have to read. I don't have time to read all that stuff. LaChris responds to what she can. She puts the stats up. She puts the special announcements up. She supports the House of Reawakening Minds financially, even though she's doing all this other stuff gratis, if you will, or whatever it means when you're just doing it out of the gratitude of your heart, because she loves this platform. So she came on board and said, look, she was watching a show like this and said, hey, I was talking to Rod though. She said, you need a website? I can help. She sent me an email. And so a lot of people say a lot of things, but they don't get a lot of things done. They talk is cheap, but you have to put some action behind it. And LaChris, I'm giving her props because she's a businesswoman. She's a TV producer, a talent coordinator for TV One and different things. She has her own show. She does her own family's genealogy. She helps other people, and she gives her dedication and time and her finances to the House of Reawakening Minds. And so
that is absolutely
that.
And you know what I mean? That is for a reason. And the women are ready to make this move to save our souls. We got to save our souls. Look here, because somebody done said that when your mama signed a birth certificate, that she signed your soul over to them.
Yeah,
that's what that's about. And you are supporting your own demise. And we got to get out from under that. Now, Rod done told us we can walk away. And Taj done told us the reversal of the state. I ain't sure how you do that right now. I've been trying to find out.
But we do have something that you have. We're not going to tell you specifically what it is. But Mama Kali is going to introduce something that we're going to do during this meeting that is going to be so powerful. And even though we know all of you can't be there, you can't, if you wanted to be there, all of you can't be there, because that's what it is. But we have to hold on to the platform, which again, we're going to have to spend $2,508 by the 7th of December. So I'm just putting it out there, y'all. Everybody send in 5 notes and say war, or you don't have to call it war because it's not for war. It's for us to keep the channel, right? So that we can get it. But we're going to end up having a bigger meeting where every woman that wants to be on there, up to 10,000 sisters can be on there at the very same time. We'll have we got
to do that.
We'll be able to have 15 speakers, but 10,000 online participants, and we can exchange out people, bring people in that might have something to say, because there are probably more. There are so many leaders amongst the sisters, you know what I mean? We know that. I know that from what I've seen come in. I've seen people with doctor and even ESQ on their names and medical and all that have signed up. So we know that you're out there, and we know that you've been ready. I apologize for the delay, but now, you know, the time is so much more even urgent now than it was then. And because of the urgency, we are trying to, you know, and we know it was a short notice with this, but I have an opportunity to get there to Atlanta, and it's a lot easier. If all the people came from Atlanta, we could just do it. But some of y'all are in some other places and you want to come. So that, again, I'm just saying, get your ticket. Just get your ticket. And that means that if you get your ticket, then you're supposed to be part of the foundation, divinely supposed to be. And I was trying to pick the one,
right?
But I think those who get their tickets are divinely appointed to lay the foundation for the larger meeting and the work. Because after that, we want to be able to break this into what areas, district, or whatever territories and so forth, so that we can get some
we
done.
have to.
Have to.
Now, remember that in this book that I wrote, Global Transformations, The Rise of Feminine Power and the Ascension of the Ethiopian King. Now, this book, which you can get on Amazon, actually has a lot of guidance as to what we need to do for ourselves and for making this transformation for ourselves and for our community. Okay, you know, and this is a guide. It truly is. You can get it on Amazon, and it is a guide, okay, for things that we must do and things that you have to know. Look, the global transformation is real. What you would not, so many people, we get stuck on TikTok and Facebook and everything, and we're not watching how this system is falling apart. We're not watching it. Now I've been watching it since this sister, known her name is Sherry Peel Jackson, back in 1999. She was a former IRS agent, and she was giving seminars telling us about the money. Well, I went to one. I said, "Oh yeah, okay." So since then, I have known that the Federal Reserve is illegal, the IRS is illegal, the government is illegal, and all of them are closed now. But they have this dog and pony show that's going on that goes on the major networks, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. They got this dog and pony show that's on television, and anybody that's watching that ain't seeing what's really going on, because they do not want to give up their $1 million Negroes. All right? And we so busy looking at stuff that don't matter that we're not even watching what's happening. The world is changing around us, and we missing it, and we holding up the damn thing. Okay? We got to know that. And I give kudos to my sister, Sherry Peel Jackson. You can look it up. They put her in jail. She was in jail for 5 years.
4 or 5, yeah.
And Negroes turned their back on her. Actually, I was in Africa at that time, so I didn't even know she was in jail, you know? And so it was only a few people who had come to her seminars. And when I went to most of her seminars, there was white folks there, because they wanted to know. They want to know, okay, what's this money thing? Why are we taxed? Who's getting the money? You know, all that money you giving to the IRS and all that, it ain't building one school. It ain't fixing not one road. It's not doing anything for you. And that system is coming down now, and y'all supporting the wrong side. That's bringing it down. You got to open up your minds and see what's going on.
you know, a lot of us have that mentality of we demon. I call them democrats. We democrats, and my mama and my grandmama and my everybody. No, first of all, then flip flop, and we forget the one bird, two wing thing. You know, really, to me, I look at those two parties as just like I look at attorneys who will go and fight, be opposing each other in the courtroom and playing golf afterwards.
Not for you. Go and have a drink and go to dinner at the other one's house. Yeah, they don't even belong to. They are agents of Britain. People don't even know that. You go to anybody with a ESQ behind his name, Esquire, that means he's working for Britain. And any kind of attorney or lawyer, he's working for Britain. If he's a member of the bar, the British Attorneys Registry, is that what it's called?
British Accredited Registry.
Oh, accredited. Okay. That's what bar is. It belongs to the British. You're working for the royal families of Europe. And they're running for cover right now. But the only people holding them up right now is us. Now, how stupid can we be? And it's right in our face. We know. Or if we want to know, if we don't want to, well, we can keep on looking at football, the $1 million niggas. We can keep on looking at football. Mm-hmm. Or putting that stuff in our hair, somebody else's hair.
The national pastimes that they created, the favorites, the pastimes, like they want time to pass and you to be stuck in these games, these stadium games, like back in the Coliseum era. So that they can profit off of us both in more than one way. They get the loosh, they get the energy rush, they get all of that, but they also get your finances back because you're paying these, so they can pay those minions to go out and do what they do to distract us. While meanwhile, there's so many other things that we could be putting our time and attention to that we don't, because we have not been. Well, not because we've not been, because we have been
miseducated. We have been miseducated.
That's right.
And that's why school was free, to make sure that you were indoctrinated into the lie.
Yeah. I'm noticing, look, I'm giving kudos. Kudos to Sister Renee Watkins, because every time we say something, she's posting something so that you all can see exactly what. I appreciate you. We need to talk, because you seem like you're helping us out a lot. Thank you, my sister. Thank you so much. Thank you. The 13544 says loosh ? That's the energy that we exude. Do you not know that when you go and you rah, or you get angry, or you do that, the energy that is emitted,
they're harvesting that.
They're harvesting that. It's called loosh. Yeah, it's called loosh. That's why we're saying these football, basketball, hockey, whatever, they're nothing more than stadium games, the old Coliseum games, when the lions and the gladiators or the gladiators were fighting, and that energy, the people were getting worked up, and the gods were being nourished off of the energy that was being generated.
The demons that are out there harvesting, and not only our energy, but our gold, and harvesting the adrenochrome from our children that they're stealing.
Well, we're not going to use that word. Look, we're not going to say, Mama, we're not going to say that word. That's one of them words.
Oh.
Yes. So that's okay.
I didn't know that was one of the words.
That's one of their words. That's one of them words.
Oh,
but we know.
I didn't know that.
We'll call it the expensive wine.
Very expensive wine.
The expensive wine. I think it was the same wine that Johnny Depp's wife was accusing him of buying, spending so much for. Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, that expensive. Okay.
I have not seen any. Is there anybody in the chat?
Oh yeah. Are you not looking at? You're not looking at.
I don't see it. It didn't come up for me.
It should have been over to your right. Yeah, there's about.
Yeah, I see it, but I don't see.
When you click on comments,
Oh, maybe. Oh, I didn't have it on comments. Okay.
Yeah, you click on comments there. They're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, anyway, like I said, my eyes were opened in 1998 with this sister who did time for telling us the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And our people didn't support her right here in Atlanta, just like they didn't support Cynthia McKinney when she stood up for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I hope we're past that. I hope we're tired enough of our children being killed and our husbands going to jail and our children. And they talking about recruiting them to put them as fodder out there for some war for somebody that ain't giving a damn about us, one that's got us all imprisoned in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they talking like that. It ain't gonna never happen, I don't believe. But if we keep our eyes closed and and put our head in the sand, we'll give them a chance. Okay, we will give them a chance. And so let us, anybody who's in the metro area, anybody who wants to drive here from the Carolinas, from Florida, from Tennessee, Alabama, it's only a couple hours. You can get here. So get your ticket and come on, because you will be the foundation of Women Are Ready. And we talking about war on the spiritual plane. Don't get it twisted. We ain't talking about picking up no kind of guns. We ain't talking about picking up no kind of knife. Now, we might have them in our house, somebody come walking through the door now. But we ain't talking about us getting in the street. Mm-mm. What we're going to do will be on the spirit plane, where we are fighting the principalities that are using us as fodder. Okay?
Right.
That's what they're doing. They're using us as fodder and been doing it for the past 400 years.
And somebody asked how much the tickets are. The tickets are 25 notes. So that's 25 for those. The one Sister Wakita, they are 25. And we want you to come and be part of it. I also want to keep the channel going. So anybody that wants to give, gotta raise. Look, Mama, gotta raise another $2,500. Now we did it in a week. The last one we were getting the channel, but people are like, "But we got that 2508 is coming due again in the first week of December." So anybody that wants to, send 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or even more, specifically for the channel, so we can keep our private channel. And what I'd like to do, Mama, going forward, is to give others opportunity to use the channel to do private stuff that they can do, and they would just have to, So we want to expand the use of the channel to others to have, because we're not doing everything, but make it available to the community. But we do have to pay, the StreamYard people for it. So thank you, thank you, sister or brother, or I'm not sure, sister Remy. I can see your picture, but anyone who would like to donate for the channel, whatever you give, just say channel. And because we do have to raise 2,500 within the next month or so, because it's due the first week of December. And I hate asking for anything, but it's a community. It's a community thing. We have about 33, almost 34,000 subscribers. We still, I'll be honest, and I'm not, some folks will say, well, why didn't you discharge the mortgage? A lot of folks that have tried to discharge stuff have ended up not with a house to discharge anymore. So we've held on to the building and now have 14 months to go. And that dead pledge will be dead. I'd rather use non-pro-tonk and go back and make them give me back 20 years of what I've been sending to them for the last, 20 years at that almost, than to lose the building. So we have 33,000. I say that to say we have 33,000 subscribers. If 1/3 of the subscribers send us $1.50 because they take out stuff, we have enough to pay I think we have like a 10,000 note mortgage balance left. It's been almost 20 years. I've been paying it with when the congregation left, still had to pay the bill for the building. And I'm glad that I didn't do some of the things that some people did, because we wouldn't have wanted to lose it. So I do ask, for support. That's why nobody gets. I give Grand Sheik such a small stipend. It is almost like I don't give him anything. But other than that, nobody gets salaries. I don't get a salary. We don't get salary. We try to give offerings, or what do you call it, offerings? What would you call it? We give when we have speakers, when we do those big events. We nobody asks for anything specifically, but we give everybody something for coming. But other than that, everything goes to running the House of Reawakening Minds. And now that we have a building that we're working on, the Airbnb, that's another, like, really technically about $1,400 a month if nobody stays in it. Right? And the work that's being done, we're almost finished, and but so all that stuff has to be, we just got insurance. We need it.
Just
got insurance we need it on the building. So that's another.
In other words, it ain't none of it free.
Ain't nothing free, y'all. And nobody and everything Dr. G do, as good as Dr. G look and all that travel, nothing comes out of nothing that y'all give to this, because I have my own income, right? And that I'm just putting it out there. Y'all don't buy me no earrings, no glasses, no tracksuits, no nothing. And I don't want you to. I'm just wanting you to know that your funds don't go to me. Your support donations don't go to Dr. G. They don't even go in my account. They go in a separate account. So what we do specifically, for the house. If somebody says to put the Cash App and stuff in there, well, we like I said, we just need to keep the stuff going. But I'm excited, Mama Kali, about November 11th. I am excited.
So am I.
So we'll have a chance to sit down and really come away with something, so that when we do have our big meeting, which is another reason why we need to pay for the channel, we want every sister that wants to be on that meeting to be able to be on that meeting.
Right, exactly.
To make their input, and to give their input, not just be on it, but to provide input.
Yes, because see, this country is so big, we have to divide it into clans and then confederations. Even I have a confederation of mound builders for people who have their own tribe to join, so that we can have a group locally, say within the surrounding states. You see,
and we'll need like I don't know what we'll call them, but we'll need women that'll be over those certain, because everybody can't report all at the same time. But if you have somebody that you report to, then the leaders of those various districts or areas can then report in. Yes.
And I'm not trying to be the big chief. I just want y'all to know that.
Neither of us are. I ain't trying to be the big chief, y'all. Listen, Mama Kali, I'm hoping that we find the leadership out. I'm not hoping. I know we find the leadership out of who becomes part of it. I'm too busy doing the things that I'm doing, and I believe it's some younger women. Really, that have the stamina and the drive and want to be. And I'm not trying to be the leader either. We're just organizing. We're just pulling it together.
We're trying to make sure that you understand how we're in a very desperate situation now. It's desperate because, and the transformation is all in our favor. It's all in our favor. The old system has already collapsed, but we're the only ones holding it up. Everybody else done left. You've heard of the BRICS nations. They done gone and made a whole nother money backed by coal. And another thing that I want to talk about, but this isn't the platform, but you see, as long as you hold this system up, you're not going to get that Nasara money that's already there. National what is it? National Economic and Security, NESARA, National Economic Security and Reformation Act, Reform Act.
Mm-hmm.
It's they try to tell you, because they got some phony websites up, trying to tell you that it's not enacted. It has been enacted, but because you got demons running the show, and it's a phony show at this point, it ain't even happening because they done closed down Washington, D.C., you know, and if you don't believe it, go look at the pictures. You know, they have closed down Washington, D.C. It only exists on ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. That's the only place that Washington exists, okay? So it's already fallen apart. We are holding it up. Because we aren't even defending ourselves.
Yeah.
And we letting them steal from us every day. You know? It's not supposed to be happening. We're in the grand transformation. It is a time of transformation. We ain't got nothing to do with it. The stars and already put, everybody believed that there was a star of Bethlehem, right? Why can't you believe that there's a star that transformed the world today? Won't they? Don't you get Christmas cards with the star of Bethlehem and said 3 kings came?
Mm-hmm.
How many Christmas cards do you get every year with that? And they believe it, okay? Well, it's true. They were 3 wise men. Okay, what did they bring? Gold, silver, what was it? Gold, silver, and frankincense. Do you know how important frankincense is? It's one of the best antibiotic, antiviral, and the medicines there is in the world. Did you know that? And we burn it too, and it purifies the air. But
and if you put it on your skin, yes.
Internally, if you take it internally, you know, it will actually take care of viruses and bacteria and everything. It's the gum from the frankincense tree, Boswellia. Yeah,
I think Boswellia is good for like healing.
Yeah, Boswellia. That's what frankincense is. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And the myrrh is the same. You know, it's also an antibiotic, antiviral. They're medicines. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And they were led by stars. And you want the astrologer come on, first thing you want to know is about yourself, right? Well, if you believe that, then do you believe that when Jupiter and Saturn got together back there in 2020, that it was about transforming the world? Yes. And this is what I wrote about. Global transformations, the rise of feminine power, and the ascension of the Ethiopian king. And what is that Ethiopian king? It's the new North Star. And have we always followed the North Star? Haven't they told you about stuff? The new North Star is the Ethiopian king. You got to get this book too. It's on Amazon. And if you have it, and you bring it with you, because I'm going to point out some things. You know, I got all these things, and this is the one I use. And
right. So bring your copy so you can get it signed.
Mm-hmm. So what's that again?
I was telling them bring their copy so that they can get it signed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, bring your copy so you can get it signed. Autographed. Yeah, so you can get it autographed. Yeah. Okay. All right, then. Well, we have
look, I didn't use it.
Hey, all right. See,
y'all don't know. Y'all don't know
what happened to her.
Look, talking about stuff that's good for you. I bought some birch water and drank birch water in about just about an hour or so, an hour and a half before we were supposed to go live. I found out what birch water does. And I did not think I was going. I said, Mama Kali said, just have to put me on solo. But we got through it. I didn't have to take it.
You didn't have to do it. I said, pulling that stuff up.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize that we were going to talk this long.
Well, we can talk.
It's okay. Because as long as I got the people to understand that we're having that meeting on November 11th here in Atlanta. It's called East Point on Main Street. And you can get there by train or bus or drive. There's parking there, and there is a ramp if you're in a wheelchair. Yes. Okay. And then you can get a vegan dinner too.
So we had, I was going to put up the, I forgot all about it, but I forgot to put a background on the flyer. I just took the picture of the flyer, the actual flyer, which is not shaped like this, but there it is sticking in between us. You'll see right here, if you take a shot of that, the WAR, 26th price, where it is core 2857 Main Street, East Point, Georgia. And the link is there for tickets. But if you want to take a picture of or a screenshot of where it is right there in between Mama and I. Let me slide it this way. There it is. So there it fits right good in the middle.
And so we are really looking forward to organizing this Women Are Ready, because we are ready. We are ready. See, the carpet has been laid for us. All we have to do is walk down it.
Yes.
The stars are with us. The whole universe is with us.
Yes.
And we can't sit down and with our head in the sand and our butts in the air for anybody to poke any way they want.
That's right.
Okay? Let us not do that.
Right.
And
just excited. I'm excited. Look, I'm excited, y'all. I'll be in the ATL area for about a week and a half or so. So, hopefully I'll get to see some of you sisters at the event. And, I don't know what else, Mama, I'm hoping to come and spend some time with you. Hoping to go spend some time with Dr. Mark Armstrong. Over the Hippie Center and some other things. Of course, Mama Ella. See Mama Ella and celebrate her.
Mama Ella's 78th birthday is on the 12th.
All right. Next day. Yeah. Sister Inez is going to come and see you. She's relocated to the ATL. So, spend some time with my son and my spiritual daughter, the one that sings the Reawakening Mind song, Maisha. So I'm going to do some of that stuff. But this day, on the 11th, we need to see your face in the place. Come with your notepads and pens, ready to, really come away with something so that we can have then the great or the big meeting, rather bigger meeting. Probably at a great meeting. We'll have the larger meeting. It'll be an online meeting, which we'll eventually want to break out, because you know what, Mama, I mean, I don't know if you're willing to, but I am willing to, within reason, travel to some of the different areas.
If somebody presents a venue, you see, and I'm willing, because the Atlanta metropolitan area is very big, and we got a whole lot of folks here. And I'm sure that we have a lot, and I know that the men might feel some kind of way because we're having a women's meeting, but do y'all want to pay for a meeting at the core? Y'all can do that, because many of the Moors locally have used the core to meet at, but you have to pay the fee. And
so I thought about it. Yeah, we talked about it, and I really wanted to be able to meet with a mixed group too, but from a financial standpoint, having to put out the finances ahead of time and not knowing who's coming and so forth, I couldn't, really, we didn't want to book the venue twice and folks get confused. Well, I was there I want to come for this one. So we decide, because the war, we've been talking about it, and because we know we need to be about it. Now is the time that laying the foundation. We've been trying to have a foundational meeting. Some of the people that I had pegged to be in that foundation meeting, of course, may not be able to make it, but nevertheless, we just needed to have a group of us come together, and not a whole, you can't, like you said, you can't get a lot done when it's a lot of people.
When you got a lot of people, you can't get anything done.
We got to set an agenda that, is diverse, hopefully enough, across the age groups and so forth, so that when we do have that larger meeting online on our channel that we're not going to lose, we'll be able to have everybody will be able to have their input, and then we'll be able to see how we're going to be breaking up into those territories and so forth. So I thank you. Yeah, we thank you.
Yes, and we look forward to seeing you on November 11th. Okay, and some of you are going to have a day off because that's supposed to be Veterans Day.
It's Saturday.
We're all veterans. It might be Friday. I don't know whether it's Friday or Monday, but y'all supposed to get a day off if y'all working, And look, we're all veterans. We're veterans of this war against us.
There you go.
And if you don't think you're in the war, I don't know what planet you're living on. That's all I got to say.
I think that's enough. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to run my mouth, and let people know. We
share this video.
Up. We can be sitting here and kick us and kick us and kill us and kill us and kill us and be fighting for their wars.
Right.
Turning ourselves against ourselves. Now we got to recognize we got gatekeepers that are working against us.
Yeah.
Now we got to know that now.
Right.
We can't close our eyes to that.
That's true.
Because if you don't believe that, look at all these cities that our folks, supposed to be people look like us, are running these cities and doing everything they can to destroy us and our future and our children.
Absolutely.
We got to keep our eyes open for that too, because we do have traitors among us.
We need to be vigilant, because your adversary is there walking about as a roaring lion, looking to devour somebody, and a lot of times they look like us.
They look just like us. And so just because he look like you don't mean he your brother or your sister. And a whole lot of them that you won't turn your nose up to. Just remember, what is it? They cloned Tyrone. Who were the people who came forward to destroy the enemy?
Yeah, the least
of pimps, the prostitutes, the street people. They're the ones. Okay? That doesn't mean that everybody else, but I'm just saying. Okay?
Yeah, do us a favor, please, and share this video. Share it to everybody that might be interested in watching this, who might be interested in coming, and they need to see why it is they should be there. Please, please, please. I would like to see, 5,000 shares of views by tomorrow morning. You can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, I hope so.
At least okay. So share
the message, whether they can come or not, the message has to come out.
Absolutely. Yeah. They may not be able to come, and like I said again, the brothers, we are doing what we're doing so that we can be more supportive of you, and our we're taking on the commission that we were given, or the charge that we were given, but not negating the importance of us working together. We all have to work together at the end of the day. But what it's like somebody, and I'm going to leave on this. It's like somebody saying, I need a woman saying, I got to have my king. Where's my king? Where's my king? But you're not even your own queen, so to speak. And I know queen is not a good term, but just think in terms of, we want somebody to complete us or to do something for us that we're not willing to do for ourselves. And so that's why.
And know that who you are and what you look like is good enough. Yeah. You don't have to put on false nothing. Okay.
You know what? Maybe I should go out. Can we go out? Let me do the poem I shared with you.
Oh yeah, go ahead and do your poem. Yeah.
Okay. I don't have my book here, but I'm gonna try to remember it, y'all.
Yeah, remember it.
I'm gonna leave that up because I want y'all to see that. And this poem is called Hair Cares because Mama Cal and I were talking about this today. It says, remember the time when the only thing on our minds was how long or straight our hair was. So much so, we do anything to get more, even buying fake hair from the corner Asian store. We couldn't see our true beauty. No one really did. So we valued each other by the hair on our head, but not just our hair. It was our skin and features too, because a standard was set that we tried to live up to. Male and female, we bought the lie, and I'm talking about the L-I-E and the L-Y-E, and put it in our heads, not realizing years later, many would be dead from the very thing we thought would make us so much more. We became victims of a chemically waged biological war. We didn't know our true worth. We just talked about that. So some thought they could score. Manufacturers, they began reeling us in more and more with, your hair needs more shine and your hair needs more swing. And we got just a product that can do the darn thing. But now we realize that we are of royal stock and true beauty suits us to a T. And the lips, tits, butts, and tan that some have to buy, those are things we get for free. And we're through with relaxers and products that burn. We're proudly wearing our hair natural because finally it's our turn to rock our locks, twist outs, and froze, and even our little wash and goes. Does anyone else see the transition? Can you feel it in the air that after all these years of chemical bondage, there's been a revolution in hair cares? Ashe.
All right.
Ashe.
Hey, look at all the money we be giving away.
And not only that, paying for our own extermination, because now they finally are admitting that crap is killing the sisters, right? They got lawsuits and all that stuff.
They put it in our face what this stuff is doing to us. Don't forget the chicken. They cloned Tyrone. The 40s, the beer, so-called beer, and what's his name? Dick Gregory told us about that a long time ago. He told us about the hair stuff. He told, and that chicken, honey. And don't forget now, and they cloned Tyrone, they was all in there giggling and carrying on because they was all eating that chicken with something in it, and don't forget that now, they put all of that in our face, and I still see Negroes in line at these fast food places. As soon as they get their check, they run out there and get some of that stuff. I had a tenant who did that. And she had diabetes. As soon as she got her check, she went and got some of that chicken.
Don't get no chicken, y'all. Eat, but I've been eating mushrooms. Mushrooms can taste like anything. I'm getting ready to make some. Listen, I'm getting ready. Look, and this, I'm really going on this, y'all, because I'm gonna have y'all going, what, Dr. G? Everybody ate. Most of us ever ate chitlins in our life one time. Dr. G has decided that I've seen everybody making these vegan chitlins with this something. I think they use whatever they use. Dr. G gonna turn mushrooms into vegan chitlins. How about that? Gonna have no pork in it. No.
I don't even know why. Why do we want chitlins?
Well, I want chitlins.
That's what I don't understand.
I just want the taste of what I thought I wanted, but not being it. So I'm just saying we can make anything we want to that's not poison. We don't have to make it. We can make chicken. I make chicken. I make mushrooms taste, oyster mushrooms taste like a chicken sandwich, and ain't no meat in it. So you can eat something that you've become accustomed to, in a sense, without it being that thing. You can take a carrot and turn it into a hot dog. Y'all know
you can. And my mama refused to cook chitlins, and that was way back in the day. And she refused to cook chitlins,
But I had them growing up, because they were, we get given stuff given to us that we don't know. I haven't eaten chitlins for years, and it would not put my lips on any chitlins or pork or anything. But I'm just saying you can make other things to help people get away from stuff that they think they can't live without. And all I'm saying is, and that is part of it. We got to bring back our families, or bring our families to a healthy place, and that's even part of our mission as being ready.
Yes, absolutely. Ready. Yeah, and that's a big part of the Women Are Ready. We ready to change our diets too. We're ready to change our method of healing. Right. We got some serious mental. We got some serious mental disorders.
Yeah, we were given that stuff because they were giving us the crap that they were giving us. You know what I mean? That they, you know, where the crap came through. But we can make whatever we want in a healthy way. Like I said, I like vegetables.
Oh yeah. It's all about seasoning. I saw somebody. I saw somebody say it's all about the seasoning. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's all it is.
It's all about the seasoning. You can change.
Well, listen, we can get into a whole other thing, y'all. We love you. We thank you for being here. We're gonna go because it's past Mama's bedtime. Look, I'm saying it's past yours. I stay up all late and wrong, but I need to sleep, y'all.
Hey, I gotta go to sleep too. This is late for me. I'm in bed by now.
See, that's what I said. But thank you. Thank you.
All
thank
right.
you and all of you.
Okay, good night, everybody. And I look forward to those people right here in the Atlanta area. Come on out on November 11th.
And if you don't, there will be no tickets at the door. Yeah. Probably won't be any tickets at the door. So, like I said, as soon as we reach the number, the link won't even work to purchase tickets. So it's that serious, y'all. So if you come on, just get your ticket. Coming and you want your friends to come with you, tell them today. Well, listen, we gotta get the ticket because they may not have any if we just wait till to get there.
Right,
so I want to turn folks away.
I saw something in the chat said we are a house of 5 women and 1 son. Can we bring the son? I don't know. What's the age of the son? I don't know.
If it's who I think that is, I believe they were here at the House of Reawakening. Mine's last month. Like maybe a under 10. I believe he was around that area. Yeah, I believe he was like under 10, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah.
That's all right. We don't need nothing, including affirmative action. Somebody talking about affirmative action. No, we are our own affirmative action. Okay. We are declaring affirmative action for ourselves. We don't need nothing. We already. This is our land, and all of the resources belong to us. We got to stand up and claim them. We scared. Okay. All right. They looking for that 1 drop of blood. So if you want to keep on giving your blood, that 1 drop so that they can still rule through those half-breeds. Okay. We'll see. Okay. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, greetings and salutations and all of that stuff. We are going to.
And thank you so much.
Thank you, Mama Kali.
I didn't scare nobody. Huh?
No, you did. You've ignited some fires in some folks to get. I'm sure you did. And thank you so much.
Good. Well, somebody needs to put some flame under their behind.
On such a short notice. Thank you. Sometimes these short notice things come out so much better. I have enjoyed this. Y'all, did y'all enjoy it?
Oh, so have I. Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about it until afternoon. I said,
that's
what?
Right.
Oh. And so you know what I did? I sat down. I said, look, don't rush yourself. It's going to be all right. Because if you ever get a platform, you know how to talk. So don't worry.
Well, looking forward to it, y'all. Looking forward.
Okay,
right.
I do too. Okay, I look forward to seeing y'all on the 11th. The core in East Point, right across from the East Point train station, MARTA. Okay,
Yeah.
good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. I tried to think going. Here we go.
All right.
Dr. G. Really? Who's she?
Yeah, that's me.
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 Dr. G. Really? Who's she?
Yeah, that's me.